Okay, so let's now give a very, very warm welcome to Brett Sugars.
Hey guys, it's a great round of applause. Thank you very much. Well, welcome. I'm just back from vacation and very excited to be teaching here today. You know, when we first started talking about this, obviously COVID has been moving very fast and the economic timing of this has been moving very fast. So what we're seeing is a very rapid changing economy around the world. And having looked into having been to Indonesia many times over the years and having watched our businesses in Indonesia and seeing how we're doing and seeing that, there is some demand in certain areas and obviously certain areas are doing well. Obviously schools aren't going back, but and maybe not even till the end of the year. But, when we sit down and we start looking at this economic downturn, and I want to be very clear, this is This is my fourth economic downturn that I've had to run my businesses through. And this one being a virtual and viral change has dramatically changed the way we approach things. And if I can just go back a little further as well, just to give you a bit more of an understanding, because my theory on this downturn is it'll be a V-shaped recovery. If you look back at 2008 to 2010, that was really an L-shaped recovery, very long downtime for the global economy. And then we take a look back further, we see more U-shaped, the housing bubble, the internet bubble, the junk bonds bubble before that. We see many different things over the years. Whereas this one, because if we go back even to 2019, and I remember talking with some business partners at one of our businesses looking at what was going to create the economic downturn, because as a planet, the global economy had been on an economic upturn since about 2012. So 2012 through 2019, that's 7 years of economic boom and upturn. And that's a long time for any economy to be doing that. And so we see it and look at it and say, okay, there's got to be a downturn. And we looked at things like, is it going to be Brexit that causes the downturn? Will it be the South Koreans? Will it be the US-China relations? What's going to create the global downturn, if anything? And none of us obviously could predict that it was a health crisis that would create an economic crisis. And so here we are today looking at our business because, small business is the engine room of a country, and corporate business is really the one that keeps the economies moving. So what have we got to do as business people? I know we have 9 companies, and out of our 9 companies, only one did we have to shut down during the economic crisis. One of them actually is doing massively better, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. And the other 7, we've sort of pivoted to find a way to do it. But right now, I'm in the mode of buying other companies. I see it as a very big opportunity right now. There's a lot of people still in panic that don't know what to do. And that's what's going to happen. So there's going to be opportunity. Now, the reason I see this as a V-shaped recovery is threefold. Actually 4. Number one, a lot of the economists are seeing it as that, and just have economists who are usually very negative to be saying they'll see a V-shape is quite unusual. But the reason I see it as a V-shape, 3 real reasons. Number one is that only really approximately a third of companies were fully shut down. Approximately, and again, this is different in every city and every region, every country, but it's about the same as I look around the world. And Indonesia is probably a few more markets in boom still than other markets. And that's an interesting thing. But, fully 1/3 of companies are doing absolutely amazing right now. And we look at furniture companies because everyone had to stay home. Everyone bought new furniture. Landscaping companies, everyone was at home and wanted a new garden or a new swimming pool or a new something or other. And, so there's all of these businesses. How much would you pay to be in the acrylic business right now, creating perspex screens between customers and service personnel? There's so many businesses that are booming. Add to that governments around the world have very much been in stimulus mode. And I look at what the Indonesian government has done, and some of it I agree with and some of it I don't. But we sit back and we look at the world economy worldwide has had, like here in the United States, they did $2.5 trillion in assistance programs, and I believe there's going to be more. The UK, everyone did somewhere in the vicinity of 20 to 25% of their GDP in developed countries, and it was amazing to see those sorts of things. So you add that, and then the third part of this is that at some point there will be a vaccine, or at some point there will be a cure for this thing. And we're seeing the death rates dropping dramatically now. And I'm not an expert in the virus in any way, shape or form. I'm just reading the same things you are. But what I am seeing is a great recovery coming, and a very strong recovery coming, especially given that, if we look back in history, the US government was really the only government to give massive economic benefits in 2008, and they did 800 billion. This time they've done 2.5 trillion. That, if you think of that as to what that created, that 800 billion led to a massive economic boom of 8 years. What's this one going to lead to? So that being said, when we first thought of doing this event, I was teaching people what to do during the event. And it's now 3 or 4 weeks later, and it's like, what do you got to do to reopen? So I've changed up today. I'm teaching you today what I've been teaching the last week or so, because the really reopening is going to be harder than closing down was. Getting back in charge, and the opportunities that are around now are going to be quite massive. So let's just jump into the presentation. If you've got questions, pop them in, and at the end of the time, we'll make sure we allocate some time for it. So when we sit down and we start taking a look at the path of this thing, Q1 this year was really the dive quarter. Q1 was everything's going down. And then Q2 was a survival quarter. As Q3 comes and we start to reopen and we start to see things and we start to see, where we're going, the malls in Indonesia, they're only seeing smaller crowds, but they're starting to see people. 20 to 40% of the pre-coronavirus crowds are coming in. We're 70 to 80% of normal sales through normal retail, but we're starting to see that coming back. So this is the drive quarter. This is get back into it and get going quarter. This is really, you got to get in front. The last thing you want is right now to be caught by your competitors, to be caught flat-footed and have your competitors catch up or beat you during this time. You've got to move fast during this. The same way you had to move fast in shutdown, you've got to move fast in open up. And I think that's an important aspect, so that by Q4, you can be in thrive mode. You can actually be doing the things that need to be done. And we can see, if you don't really push right now and really run hard right now, really sprint right now, you get caught at the bottom of this thing. And remember this also, many of your competitors are not going to be ready to open up properly. Many of your competitors aren't going to do it right. And so you've got an advantage. You've got the opportunity to get the jump on them and to win their customers over to your business. There's a lot of customers looking to change where they do business at this point in time. Remember, times of change bring about human change, and we'll talk more about that as we go into it. So if we start sitting down and saying, okay, what do we actually have to do? Well, the very common sense stuff, let me just go right through the end of this one because it's fairly commonsensical. What we've got to do here is understand the rules. The rules are going to change. They're going to keep changing. And it's not just rules laid down by the government. It's rules that your customers are coming to expect. They don't expect you to have a clean place. They expect to see someone cleaning at all times. They expect to see that now. And if they don't feel that it's clean, if they can't see someone doing these things, if there aren't masks, if there aren't these things available, then they're going to go somewhere else. And this is a very important aspect of understanding that the mindset of your customers has shifted. The mindset of the global market has shifted. And if you really start to understand that shift in the marketplace and that shift in mindset, then when we get to sales and marketing, you'll understand why I do a lot of that. You're going to have to be very flexible in the coming months, because even though we're starting to open up, there will be periods. I just saw in Australia another market shut down. Here in the United States, I saw Florida go backwards in its phases. There's many markets where they're going to be opening up and then going backwards and then opening more and going backwards. So be flexible in the next month or two. Now, where that leads us to is your people. As we get back to this, their level of productivity, their level of wanting to come to work, their level of working hard will be based on their confidence that they are safe, not just that your customers are safe. Remember, the middle of this thing, the middle of COVID, fear was the number one emotion out there in the marketplace. That then led to an emotion more of worry. There's more worry. So fear and panic led to worry. And that's not just worry of consumers, it's worry of workers as well. I know in one of our businesses, our restaurant, we literally struggled to get them all back. Now, in many of our companies, we've allowed them to stay virtual. I'm not sure if you saw, but as a global company, Twitter is allowing all of their staff to stay virtual forever. They've basically said you can stay virtual forever if you want to. And I'm looking at it thinking maybe we should do that in some of our companies just to cut our overheads of having these massive offices and all of these sorts of things. So it's an interesting one where with that, we've also gone flexible hours in a lot of our businesses. We have some staff come in early in the mornings and work through to lunch, and others come from lunch and stay later just to reduce the number of people that they're in connection with in the office and reducing the number of people. So there's many different things that we're doing from that front. And again, each business is going to be different for us, and each market, like my businesses in England are doing things different to my businesses here in the United States. And again, different to, I look at my business in India, it's doing things in an entirely different way. And so you're going to see Bali doing things different to Yogyakarta. You're going to see different markets doing things in different ways because of the different customer bases. Now, the other thing with your team is that during times of change, you've got to have far more communication, not less communication, far more communication. So, and that helps build the community that would regularly happen just from them seeing each other that you've now got to do. Obviously, you've got to change your standards, your protocols of operation, how many things should be done, all of that sort of stuff. And remember that getting back to productivity is the goal. When you're bringing your people back into the business, getting them back productive is the goal, but you've got to do that in a safe manner. I just saw a report today that one large business here in the United States that reopened and within 2 weeks had 100 cases of COVID and had to shut down again. So don't be in a rush to do things to such a degree that you put yourself in jeopardy or your team in jeopardy. I like to think of it as we've got to retrain everybody. It gives us a good opportunity to retrain our staff. And we've seen that with a lot of our staff in companies there. The retraining is doing a very good job of bringing back their productivity levels. Next thing that I'm seeing is that as we want to win back our business, as we want to get our customers back, we've got to give them a reason to come back. We've got to give them a deal of some sort to get them to keep coming back. And so what we've looked at is who are our target audiences? What are the different target audiences and what deals do we need to make for them? And it's not necessarily a pricing deal. Sometimes it's about personalized shopping. Come in and be the only person here type thing. Other times it's about making sure that they have credit facilities, things like that to make sure it works for them. Excuse me, I keep talking here. First group that we really looked at is our top 20% of customers. What are we doing for those A-grade customers, the 20% that bring us 80% of our business? How are we going to win them back, our big spenders? Because your big spenders are your most important customers. How do you get them back? The most regular, biggest spending customers. And we've sat down and looked at all of them and what will bring them back and made different deals. And again, in different companies, we've made certain that we've got them coming back because they're the most important. Next one that we've done all across the world, we've looked to first responders, nurses, doctors, ambulance workers, all of the people who are on the front line of this thing. We've actually made offers for all of them. Because remember, in times of crisis, it's not just doing good business, it's being seen to do good business. What are you doing for the first responders? How are you helping them? What's your response rate to them to get a real result for them? out there into the marketplace. Next, we go to the other 80% of our existing customers. Of course, we want all of them back. And in fact, we're trying to win back some customers that we lost too. What are we doing to get customers who've stopped buying from us to come back to us now? It's a good chance. People are thinking differently, so it's a good chance to get everyone back into the business is important. Next, we're doing offers for new customers. Come try us out. Come test us. And so we're aiming to win a lot of business. And we're not just doing an offer each week. We're doing them each month. So we're going right through. We've actually planned our offers right through to Christmas now. We've planned deals to get us through that marketplace and to get us and to keep the customers coming back and get new customers trying us out. And of course, when I get to marketing, we'll talk more about how that happens. But one of the biggest things we've done to get our customers back is we've done things like opening again. We've literally thrown reopening parties. We've literally done the whole thing about what are we doing, and everything is announcement. So let me give you some ideas of what we've announced. Yes, every deal. So every time we did a deal, we've announced it. It's on our social media. It's in our newsletters. It's in our emails to people. We're announcing every deal because we want the market to keep seeing us. We want to be in front of them all the time. All of our team members coming back to work. We've been, making it that every team member coming back to work is another announcement. It's another reason to be excited. And I remember in our restaurant, we had to shut down our restaurant fully. And as each team member came back to work, we did a short video with them announcing them coming back and how they're excited to serve again and excited to take care of customers. And I think one of our bartenders got the most, likes and everything, and he was very excited by that. We've announced every reopening step, everything that we're doing. We've announced it. We've made it clear. We've told the marketplace what we're doing, how we're doing it, because it's important to do that sort of thing and to make sure that they know the safety protocols that you're using and the things that you do.
All right, please hold on, everyone. Looks like Brett is a bit of disconnect. Marvin, if you can show up too. Please, everyone, stay in the room because Brett just probably disconnect from the United States internet connections. He'll probably be back in just a minute.
Ya, jadi bagi yang bingung, that's okay. Ini namanya juga internet.
Yes.
Dia lagi disconnect, nanti dia balik lagi. Seperti yang saya bilang tadi, actually langsung dari sekarang aja. Jadi kalau Anda ingin copy dari slides-nya, mintanya nanti di akhir biar kita gampang nyatetnya. Kalau sekarang, it's going to be very hard. Ya, jadi tolong tunggu sampai kita masuk di Q&A untuk bisa bertanya lagi, untuk minta itunya. So, Brad, are you back? Are you with us again?
My apologies, team. I have no idea what happened. I clicked the next button. Let me just.
Okay. Sambil semuanya nunggu, kalau Anda sudah kepikiran Q&A-nya, question-nya Anda boleh ketik sekarang, ya. Anda boleh catat dulu, nanti ada Q&A session, Anda boleh ketik di chat, Anda tulis dulu di catatan Anda dulu. Atau Anda juga boleh chat di sekarang, question Anda.
Brad, can you hear us?
Yeah, I've got you. I just haven't got my camera. I've got to turn my camera around somehow. For some reason today, but I don't know what happened just then. It just disappeared on me. So,
we can hear you loud and clear. So if you just want to continue, that's fine.
Let me keep teaching, and I'll bring the camera back as soon as I can.
Sure. All right, we're going to hide again.
Yeah. So the next thing that we announced on every single one was the dates that we're doing things. We made sure that there was a timeline so that people knew what we were doing and how we were doing it, because I think it's important for your customer base to know what you're doing and when you're doing it. And it gives people some excitement. We noticed that when we started announcing our team members coming back in our restaurant business, we noticed that our customers got more and more excited and more. We got more bookings. We got more things because we were out there and telling the world what we're doing. And that then led us to not just reopening announcements, but an actual celebration of our reopening. In all of our businesses, we had a ribbon cutting. And for many of them, the ribbon cutting wasn't even anything to do with just the ribbon cutting was really all about giving the media something to come and take a photograph of, giving us something to take a photograph of, giving our staff something to be proud of. And of course, we had everyone in masks and we had everybody in 6 feet apart and all of that craziness. But, you know, when we sit down and we start looking at the opportunity that came from reopening, it was a celebration of our business. It was a celebration of the fact that we survived, and we got the media involved, and we made sure that our staff were involved in everything that we did. And then the next thing we did, we invited obviously many of our customers. Now, some of our businesses we've done as virtual reopenings, and the virtual reopenings have been fantastic as well. So, you know, we sit down and we start thinking about how it is that we can get people excited about our business again, because we've got to win them back. We even got some of our customers, when they first came back into the business, we started doing videos of them first coming in. We got out into the community and made sure the community knew we were open. But the biggest thing was giving the news media something. You got to remember, news media wants to celebrate good things right now. They really want to celebrate what's going on out there in the marketplace. So here we are looking at how do we celebrate, and that's really a lot of what we're trying to do to make sure we build that level of excitement back up out there into the marketplace. And I think it's really important to consistently think about how well you're celebrating out there into the marketplace and how well you're getting the marketplace following you. Next one that we look at was the numbers. All costs should be examined right now. You should be renegotiating all of your costs. You should be going in and doing deals, because there's deals to be had everywhere. However, on top of that, all of your cost structures have changed during this thing. There's more costs in doing it certain ways, and there's less costs in doing it the other way. So we've made sure that every single business is looking at its costs and making sure that we have that definite in the way that things are working. So keep that in there. Numbers, in any time of crisis or change, you want to be doing your numbers far more often than you're doing, working out where you need to be. If you've got government money, we use it wisely. But the biggest one, I think, is making sure that you understand that there is still change coming, and we're not through all of this yet as a global economy, and we don't know what's going to happen. So keeping more cash on hand rather than less is not a bad idea. And if you're struggling with that, please sit with your coach and work out how you can actually get that money coming back in, because I think it's important to be able to do that and survive, you know, and get yourself in a safe position for that. The next one, and we want to spend a little bit of time here, is marketing and sales. To be very blunt, the marketing message that you are delivering, if it is the same as it used to be, it will be doing you a disservice. Marketing has to change. All around the world, people have changed their mindset. All around the world, people have changed what it is they're thinking about. And so your marketing has to shift. To give you an example, pre-COVID at Action Coach, we would teach you things like, or we would market ourselves based around, let me build a business that works without you. Let's build wealth through your business. Let's build a business that is running more profitably. Let's build great corporate profits and build the share value of your company. If we kept doing that during COVID and even today, it seems insensitive to what the market is looking for. We have to move to more of a help and educate. That's what we've done with Action Coach. In my cleaning business, my commercial cleaning business, which is booming, we took all of our marketing from, hey, let us take care of your business, all that sort of stuff, to here's how you clean this service. Here's how you do this. Here's how you should be cleaning this area of your business. Here's what you should be doing to clean these things. And so it really became about an education-based marketing rather than just a benefits-based marketing. And I think that's important. Understanding that worry is still in the market. Fear is dissipating. There is still a percentage of the market that has fear. That's the case. But definitely there is a high level of worry still in the marketplace, and your marketing has to address that. And what that's going to do is not only change your marketing message and what you see, but it's going to mean people take a longer time to purchase. You're going to need more, and if I can be really blunt, you're going to need things like more video, testimonials from your customer base telling the market how good you are. You're going to need more videos about how to buy your product, how to use your product. You're going to need a lot more video because people won't want to be face-to-face. So therefore, they're going to do more research online. They're going to do more understanding of your product or service online. So the more video you can create, the better off it will be, especially video testimonials. Now, knowing that their purchase is going to take 1 or 2 steps more is a very big important part of managing the process. You've got to teach your salespeople in some cases to slow it down a little bit, because the reality of it is if we keep up the speed, then all of a sudden we're going to lose customers because their buying decisions are going to take a little bit longer because there is worry. Now, on the flip side of that, you've also got to be ready, depending upon your product, of course, for the people that are ready to buy today. We see that happening a lot. Like, I go back to my commercial cleaning business. Dang, we would get people call us up and say, can you do the full clean of my business? Can you get my business back ready for opening? Can you do it every day? Yes. How much? Great. And they would buy immediately because it's something that they needed immediately. However, most of our businesses, what we're seeing is very clearly, these things are taking longer, decisions are taking longer, they're taking 1 or 2 more steps for doing it. Now, that means we need to be more customer focused. We need to be far more question oriented, finding out what their needs are. You don't want to oversell in this economy. You want to make sure that you're selling to someone who will come back, because the building of relationships, the building of database is very important in this time frame. If there's people that aren't ready to buy, don't be so worried about it, because there's just a time lag. It's coming. They've got the money. They will get there, but it's just a time lag in this time frame of making certain that everyone is doing the things that they want to do to be able to make the purchases that they need to make. So keep your salespeople out and make sure your marketing message. Now, one other thing I will say about marketing, you should be doing far more marketing now than you've ever done before. You should be on social media far more than ever before, more blog posts than ever before, more videos, more YouTubes. You've got to be doing far more. In fact, Marvin or Usman, I did a whole webinar on marketing. Is there a chance that you guys can give everyone the link to that at some stage? It's up on my YouTube channel. If you guys could do that, that would help out a lot, I think. Or maybe you could just run that webinar and teach everyone the same things, but teach it in Indonesian and Bahasa for everybody to learn. Would that be okay, guys?
Yeah, we'll do.
Yes.
Fantastic. Make sure everyone gets to learn that stuff. I think it's really important. So from marketing and sales, what we've got to do is understand that at this point in time, when you come through a negative environment, it's important to thank people, customers who stood by you, customers who got you to be successful in the first place. It's important to thank everyone. We've gone a step further. We've thanked our team. We've thanked suppliers. I've written more handwritten notes in the last month to suppliers and that sort of thing than I've ever written before. Even to my accountants who helped us do the numbers and survive this thing. We even wrote politicians' thank you notes, because I don't think they're getting very many, but B, this is probably one of the most stressful times ever for them. Our media, we've reached out to journalists who, and just said, thank you for being strong in the marketplace and doing a great job. And it's amazing. We're doing these things and they're reaching out to us just saying, hey, who are you guys? What do you do? And can we do an interview? And there's so many things, but the ability to thank people at the end of a time like this is very important. But most of all, we found out that what we needed to do is thank our fellow business owners, because, every business owner that took this thing through really needed a thanks and a pat on the back. And it's working out very well to make sure that they come together and be that. Now, when we sit down and we take a look at Restart, take a screenshot of this if you want to. When we sit down and we take a look at this thing and we start saying, okay, how is it that we get through this phase? Well, the warm-up phase is just finishing, okay? The warm-up phase is just ending, and now we're moving into the sprint phase. And so what we've got to be doing is moving at a rapid rate of knots to get ourselves up and running, to not get caught out by our competitors, to make sure that we are in front. If you want a copy of this, check in with your coach. They can get you a copy of this for certain. But it's really a methodology of just saying, you know what, it's really time to get racing in your business. It's really time to make certain that your business is running with the best team that you could possibly have, and your team are well trained and they're ready to go, and that sort of thing. That to me is really what it's all about. If you go back and you see here what we've been teaching this whole way along, you see that this number 5, phase 5 here of what we need to teach is that's really where you want to be working right now. If you don't have a plan for the reopen to be very successful, if you've just started reopening and you don't have that full-on plan to reopen and what you should be doing and how you should be marketing and how you should be training your team, please meet with your coach immediately to develop that plan. That is important. It's just something that has to happen. And then you've got to need a full plan for quarter 4 to be back on track for Q4. You see, the way we teach this at Action Coach is that when you are running a business, the lack of a plan leads to panic. So in the first instance, I told people you needed a 90-day plan to get through survival mode. So Q2, you needed that 90-day plan. Now it's about a 90-day plan to get through Q3 and get back to thriving, get back to a good, solid business and do that. You've got to remember that any simple mistakes right now could kill your business. So sit with your coach and plan this out. Go through what happens if this negative thing happens. What happens if this works, if this doesn't work? Where do we go? See, the formula for us at Action Coach is pretty simple. The way we teach people business is to move them through. Mastery, the 4 areas of mastery is really where we sit down and look at getting the basics of the business and the elimination of chaos. And a lot of us have had to go back to that because even simple things like how a customer flows through this thing is of vital importance. Next, we got to look at the marketing, and almost all of your marketing is going to have to change in the next 80 to 90 days. You know, if you sit down and look at your marketing and it's at all insensitive to the situation, you've got to start changing it up. Leverage your systems. Many of your systems are going to need to change. Team building, you're going to need to, adapt and change your management style, your leadership style for the team being in a virtual and viral world. How will we manage that? How will we recruit? Even recruiting. I know one of our businesses, the commercial cleaning company, we had to recruit so many people during this, and it was just amazing that we had to change everything about our recruiting techniques because we had to go virtual, and that you couldn't meet people face to face. So then we hit the synergy, which is where we multiply the business that's working and we turn it into something amazing. And then ultimately, that's where the results come from. This, my friends, is really the formulaic methodology that your coach uses with you to help you build the organization into something great. This is what we use and have used forever. It's kind of like I sit down and I watch a lot of business people and they go to working their business, but they don't have the formula. They don't have the recipe. And what this really is this is the recipe for how to build a strong and structured and well-formed business. So that's really what we need to do. So in order to finish up today, I wanted to remind you one thing. If you don't have your 90-day plan with your Action Coach, please get with the team and get your 90-day plan in place to be thriving. The next thing is, what are the 5 things you're going to do based on today? If you've got them down already, type them in the chat window. What are 5 things you're going to do based on today? Next, I'm going to take some time for question and answer. So if Usman, if yourself and Marvin can come back on and jump into any questions. Let me see if I can turn this video around. There's got to be a button to turn my camera around here somewhere.
We can see something there, Brad. But
yeah, it's the back. It's the back.
camera.
It's the back camera. Maybe I should spin the whole computer around that way.
Okay, so bagi Anda yang belum menanyakan, those of you who haven't asked the questions, please use the Q&A function. Silakan gunakan question and answer function. Coach Usman akan memandu Q&A-nya. Kita akan memilih tentunya beberapa pertanyaan yang cukup waktunya. Bagi Anda yang pengen dapat informasi lebih lanjut lagi untuk membicarakan bagaimana Anda bisa mengimplementasikan apa yang diajarin oleh Brad, tolong ketik di chat window-nya kata-kata coach. COACH ya. Jadi kalau Anda ketik di situ, nanti kita akan bisa bantu bikin appointment untuk Anda bisa ngobrol dengan coach untuk melihat bagaimana bisa mengimplementasikan apa yang diajarkan oleh Brad. So those of you that want to speak to a coach, just type the word coach and we'll reach out to you so you can book an appointment with the coach that invited you to this one. Bagi Anda yang ingin mendapatkan kopi dari presentasinya, please type the word presentation. Bagi Anda yang ingin mendapat kopi dari presentasi ini, tolong ketik presentation. Bagi Anda yang ingin mendapatkan replay dari videonya, tolong ketik replay. Very simple, right? Those of you that want to get a replay of this video, the recording of this video, just type down replay and we will reach out to you. So once again, the key words are coach if you want to speak with a coach, presentation if you want to get a copy of the presentation, and replay if you want to get a copy of the replay. Ooh, we're getting a lot. Okay, Yusman, silakan.
Right, okay, that's a good spirit everyone. So thank you Brad for the very great presentations. So saya dah terima banyak question answers and I'll be leading the question answer. So let me pick the first questions, Brad. So we got Budi in here. So Budi is asking, market changed dramatically and the changing is super fast, even faster than our business planning. What should we do in this situation? We just finished make the business plan, market change. So our planning is not matching with the market situation. So they have done the planning, the market change again, they've done planning, the market change again. So what should they do, Brett? That's the question.
The same thing I've had to do in every one of our companies, throw it out and start again. We've literally had to redo our plan. One of our companies is a food truck business, and so we do concerts and festivals and all of those sorts of things. Well, literally all of our business, we do half of our annual business in springtime, and we lost basically half of our annual business. So we had to just throw everything out and start again. And then 2 weeks later, we had to throw everything out and start again. And it's just like, you know, this market is moving fast. The biggest thing I can say to you is this: get as educated as you possibly can and try and stay ahead of the marketplace. You've got to try and be ahead of your competitors in this. Remember that times of massive change and massive turmoil lead to massive opportunity. You know, if we go back to the last economic bust that was a global bust between 2008 and 2010, companies like WhatsApp and Instagram, these are companies that were started in that time. So there's massive opportunity right now. So keep planning, keep looking forward, and keep staying ahead of the marketplace if you can.
Right.
We're only doing 90-day plans, by the way. We're not doing full business plans right now. 90 days is as much as we're planning.
All right. Okay, good one. So keep replanning until it works. All right. So got another questions from John Allen. John Allen is our long-time action coach client, very good client, very good friend. So John Allen was asking, his business is in interior design and contractor, in-house contractor. So how do you increase customer buying power? Is it possible to do that? How do you increase the willingness of people to spend more money right now? Thank you.
Yeah. Listen, you know, right now, some people are unwilling to spend money. There are certain people that will just not spend money right now. That is going to be the case because of what has happened. There's a percentage of people that are willing to spend, but will be very careful about how they're going to spend. And then there is another group of people that are very, very willing to spend right now. What you've got to do is shift your marketing to find that group that is really very willing to spend right now. If your old marketing is still being used, you're not finding that group. You've got to use the marketing and the sales techniques that hit that group that is very willing to spend right now. So that's basically what we're doing in all of our companies. We're changing our marketing so that we can do that.
Right. Hey, good one. All right, okay. The next questions come from Eric Lee. Eric Lee was asking the questions. While they are relooking at the operating costs and supplier contracts, their client, their customer, are looking to renegotiate their fees. By the way, John, Eric Lee is in a communication consulting business. So the customer are really looking at renegotiating the fee. So how should they approach this?
Be proactive. Go first. Don't wait for them to come to you about it. Go to them with a different offer. Go to them. Don't go to them and let them think. See, we've gone to a lot of our customers and offered to do more with them. We've gone to them and offered to do more. Have you changed your programs? Do you have a COVID program? Do you have a here's how to get through this? Do you have something that is targeted to them right now? What are their needs today that they didn't have before? You know, this has changed business for everyone. And if you haven't changed what you're selling, then yes, they're going to come back and say, well, we don't really need that anymore because the market's changed. You've got to change what you're selling based on this. If you've got an existing customer, you should be looking to make a lot more money out of them, not a lot less money out of them. So that's a very big important part of making certain that you're focusing on what is, see, let me give you two examples of this. One of our clients who they're in the chocolate business, right? Chocolates. And of course, COVID came, they're all through retail stores. They could have been out of business because no one was going to a retailer. Well, they had to rethink and repackage and had to redo everything. Another one of my clients down in Australia, they were in the construction industry and they were in steel construction. So manufacturing mezzanine levels, but they used steel. And their business was shut down overnight. Construction was no longer allowed. And so they had to sit down and say, well, what can we do? Well, we can have an online business. Yeah, but you can't sell steel online. Now, one of the guys just happened to be a guy that goes to the gym a lot. And he says, well, you can sell barbells and dumbbells, and I can't buy any right now because everyone wanted to set up a home gym all of a sudden. So they turned their construction company into a steel business making barbells, dumbbells, weights, and they built a massive business during COVID. There's always opportunities. If you look at what your customers need to buy today, there's opportunities to get more out of your customers than less.
Right. Okay. Very clear. Loud and clear. Right. We got a lot of questions, Brad, today, and I'm having trouble to sort those questions and picking up.
That's your job.
Right.
I can't get my camera to work, so, you know.
Okay, another one coming up. Juliana Picardi was asking a very good question. He said, hi, Brett, I'm doing cleaning business too. So my question is how to grow the business in a bigger scale. Manpower is the big issue for me. So how to scale it with the manpower issue?
Yeah, you've got to work out how to recruit in a virtual world. You've got to work out how to train in a virtual world. We had to go to all of our training had to go online. We created videos of our training programs. We literally had to have our cleaning kits sent to our staff. You know, there's so many things that if recruiting is your problem, then you need to sit with one of the coaches and work out about recruiting, because recruiting has changed as well. People are looking for different things in a job today than they were last year. They're looking for different ways, and you know, so there's much more meaning being looked for right now. I would say it all comes down to being good at recruiting, and that's pretty much every business, not just the cleaning business. But I know for us, the amount of change we had to make in our recruiting strategies was dramatic.
All right. Okay, so recruiting strategy has to change, and probably she needs to sit down with the coach. All right. Okay. Next question, a very good one from Bernard Tien. So he was asking, how can I re-equip my team members, the team members, his employee, has a very fixed mindset, they want to change for decades. Now, business are changing, so how could they actually, take the advantage to change, take the opportunities, how they can change the team so that the team can refocus and re-strategize to take the advantage of the changes and the opportunities. So how could he?
First thing, study change, understand change. You know, there's what's that great little book that we use, guys? The iceberg book. My iceberg is melting. Yeah. That's a great little change management. But the simple thing to me is it doesn't sound like it's your team who doesn't want to change. It sounds more like it's you that doesn't want to change. Because if you wanted to change, you would tell your team they have to change. If I want to change and I'm the boss of the company, the team changes. There's no way about it. If I don't really want to change, then I use my team as an excuse to not change. So I would say sit with your coach and take a look at what it is that needs to change. But the other thing is change is scary. So build a plan around it. Don't just run at it. Build a plan of how you're going to change.
Right. Okay. Build a plan around the change. Okay. Next questions. Robin's. A lot of questions. Hi, Brett. Every company needs cash flow. What can we do if our company don't have enough cash flow to take the company back to normal again? So if the company doesn't have enough cash flow to take the company back to normal again, so what can they do?
Well, you've got to focus on your marketing and your sales. It's as simple as that. Your marketing and sales now has to be 100% of your focus. So you've got to sit down and start looking at how do we get our past customers back? How do we win new business? And if your marketing systems aren't working and your sales systems aren't working, then right now is a great time to change all of that. You know, it comes down to your salespeople performing and your marketing people performing, because let's be blunt, cash flow issues are most often marketing and sales issues. Now, flip that over for a second. If your cash flow issue isn't an income issue, it's a you're spending too much issue, then yeah, you got to sit down and look at your budgeting and make sure of that. But you know, ultimately, the vast majority of cash flow issues are fixed with sales and marketing.
Right. Okay. So we got the last two questions, Brett. Last two questions for everyone. So the last two questions, I picked the last second one is from Muhammad Iqbal Mushal. His question is, no one have enough experience in these situations. How to predict unpredictable things?
You know what? I have experience in 4 downturns, and every single one of them has been different. The one thing I do know is that in downturns, we have to basically do it the same way as we've done in all other downturns. You know, get into survival mode first, and that means if you have to, cutting your costs back. It means, you know, get survival first, sort out survival. Once you've sorted out survival, then work out get back to normal. And then once you've worked out get back to normal, work out take advantage of the massive opportunities that are coming your way right now. Listen, I read as much as I can at the moment, and I stay ahead as much as I can. But I honestly, I would say we focus 80% of our attention right now on the fundamentals, just getting back to the basics of business and making sure the basics are handled. Because if you can't handle those very simple things, it doesn't matter how good you are at reading all the other stuff, you're not going to survive it.
All right. Okay. So last questions. The lucky one is from all of those questions I received is Ingrid Lindawati. So Brett, what is your opinion on keeping the old employee, the most experienced employee, versus the new employee who is more innovative and most of the time cheaper than the old employee, more experienced employee? What is your opinion about that?
Yeah, that's a really tough question, because I know that oftentimes you sit there thinking about, you know, I would go with the person that's been around longer in most cases. Now, that being said, if they're not willing to grow and change, then they have to go as well. You know, an older employee still has to be willing to grow. They still have to be willing to change. They still have to be willing to learn, because if they don't learn, the company doesn't learn. But there is an invaluable amount of knowledge in someone that's been with you 10 years, that they just know things that other people don't. There is an invaluable amount of knowledge right there. That being said, because it was an either or, I had to pick. If I had to really answer that question, I would say keep them both and do what you need to do to make enough sales in order to keep them both. That would be the ideal scenario. And have them participate. Ask them, hey, listen, I need your help making sure you all got jobs. I mean, I know how open and clear I am with all of our staff in companies, because that's what wins you staff loyalty, being open with them and being honest with them and letting them know this is what needs to happen in order for us to keep the business open and do that stuff. I'm really sorry. I must have clicked the wrong button to get the camera there, guys. But, you know, you know how much I love Indonesia, and you know I was supposed to be there last month to come and teach everybody, and I would love to, and I can't wait to get back there again at some stage. And I know I'll bring the family, and we'll all have a good time. And you guys always treat me to some really nice meals, so I look forward to being back as soon as I can. But how is it that first of all, before I finish up, how is it that everyone that wants a coaching session gets that? Do they just type in coach? I listened to you before. What's the way that everyone who wants a session does that?
Yes, Brad. They just need to type in the word coach on the chat and we'll get to them.
Great. You know, you guys have been doing an amazing job. You've saved a lot of businesses during this COVID. So thank you for working so hard to save all of those companies out there. And to all the business people on here today, thank you for working so hard to keep your companies running, because, you know, if we save every company, we save an economy. And that's basically what we're trying to do right now, is make sure every business survives, every business thrives, so that we can have an economy that's surviving and thriving. So, you know, Indonesia is coming through this thing stronger than a lot of other countries. You guys have done a very good job of managing through this process. So I look forward to seeing the strength of Indonesia in the marketplace in the coming years, because of how well you've handled this event.
Great. Thank you, Brad.
Yes, thank you a lot, Brad.
Best regards to the family.
I am waving goodbye, guys. Unfortunately, you can't see me. Take care. Thank you.
Oke, so sekali lagi teman-teman, bagi Anda yang ingin dapatkan kopi dari presentasinya ini, tolong diketik presentation. Bagi Anda yang ingin dapat replay, tolong diketik replay. Bagi Anda yang ingin ngobrol dengan salah satu coaches kami, tolong ketik coach, and then we will get to you. Atas nama Action Coach Indonesia, nama saya Coach Marvin. Thank you untuk kehadiran Anda hari ini, and then saya pass ke Coach Yusman to say your final words.
Atas nama perwakilan Action Coach dan saya Coach Yusman, thank you semuanya, and thank you, Brad, for the great opportunity that Indonesian entrepreneurs having. And please, everyone, type thanks, Brad. Love you, Brad, on the chat, so that Brad know that he's being very appreciated. And thank you so much, Brad, for your time today. And again, see everyone, great spirit, great learnings, and let's build Indonesia economy again.